There comes a moment when you realize something important about power. Powerful people are not moved by noise. They are not impressed by desperation. They do not respond to chasing. Stoicism teaches a quiet truth most people never learn. Influence is not forced, it is felt. The more you chase power, the less it respects you. The more grounded you become, the more it notices. This is where Stoicism changes everything. It teaches you how to stand firm, speak less, and move with intention. When you embody these principles, powerful people begin to adjust themselves around you. They lean in, they listen, not because you asked for attention, but because your presence demands it. The first Stoic principle is inner independence. Powerful people are surrounded by those who need something from them. Approval, access, validation. When you need nothing, you stand out immediately. Stoicism teaches you to detach your self-worth from external outcomes. You do not seek permission to feel confident. You do not rely on recognition to feel valuable. This inner independence creates a quiet gravity. Powerful people sense when someone cannot be controlled by rewards or threats. That is when respect begins. Another Stoic principle is emotional restraint. Power watches reactions. It tests people subtly. Most fail by overreacting, oversharing, or trying too hard to impress. The Stoic remains calm, measured, unshaken. When you do not rush to explain yourself or defend your ego, you signal strength. Silence becomes your ally. You respond, not react. Powerful people trust those who can govern themselves. If you cannot control your emotions, you will never be trusted with influence. Stoicism also teaches selective engagement. Not every conversation deserves your energy. Not every invitation deserves a yes. When you show that your time is valuable, others treat it that way. Powerful people notice who does not linger unnecessarily, who speaks with intention, who knows when to walk away. This is not arrogance. It is discipline. You influence power by showing that your attention is not cheap. Another core principle is consistency of character. Stoics do not change their values to please whoever is in front of them. They remain steady whether dealing with authority or anonymity. Powerful people deal with flattery every day. What they rarely encounter is authenticity without agenda. When your words and actions align consistently, trust forms naturally. Influence grows where trust lives. At this point, if this message is sharpening how you see power, influence, and self-mastery, subscribe to the channel. These teachings are for those who want quiet strength, not empty motivation. Subscribe now so you don't miss what most people will never learn. Stoicism also emphasizes patience. Power moves slowly and strategically. Those who rush reveal insecurity. The Stoic understands timing. You allow relationships to develop naturally. You do not force relevance. You let absence work in your favor. Powerful people respect those who are comfortable waiting, because patience signals confidence in one's own value. Another principle is responsibility over blame. Stoics never waste energy complaining about systems, people, or unfairness. They focus on what is within their control. Powerful people respect problem solvers, not victims. When you take ownership of your actions and outcomes, you become reliable. Influence grows around reliability. Stoicism teaches mastery of speech. Speak less, but say more. Every word carries weight. Powerful people are constantly filtering noise. When you speak clearly, briefly, and with purpose, your voice stands out. You do not dominate conversations. You add value. That is how influence quietly builds. Stoicism also teaches self-respect through boundaries. You do not overextend yourself to be liked. You do not tolerate subtle disrespect just to stay close to power. When you calmly enforce boundaries without drama, powerful people recalibrate how they treat you. They understand one thing clearly: you value yourself. And power always respects self-respect. Another Stoic principle is humility without weakness. You do not boast. You do not advertise your strengths. You let results speak. Powerful people are exhausted by loud egos. Quiet competence is rare. When you stay humble while remaining capable, you become someone they want near them, not someone they need to manage. Stoicism also teaches detachment from outcomes. You show up prepared, grounded, and honest, but you are not emotionally tied to approval. This changes everything. When you are not afraid to lose access, you gain leverage. Powerful people sense when someone would walk away rather than compromise their dignity. That is influence. Another principle is presence. When you are with powerful people, you are fully there. No nervous energy, no rushed speech, no trying to prove yourself. Just calm attention. This creates comfort, and comfort builds trust faster than charm ever could. Stoics understand the power of restraint in conflict. You do not argue to win. You do not escalate to feel strong. You remain composed, factual, and respectful. Powerful people notice who can disagree without emotional chaos. That ability signals leadership. The final Stoic principle is alignment with purpose. You are not orbiting power. You are moving in your own direction. When your life has momentum, powerful people notice. Influence flows naturally toward those who are already going somewhere. Stoicism reminds us of this truth. Powerful people are not impressed by pursuit. They are influenced by presence, discipline, and self-mastery. When you stop chasing, you stop shrinking. And that is when power begins to pay attention. If this helped sharpen how you move around influence and authority, subscribe to the channel. More Stoic wisdom is coming for those who value strength without noise.